Alrighty, everybody, welcome in, and this is Shum the Mean, and today we're reading through Hosea chapter 9 and 10. Now, again, bear with me, because I'm getting over a cold or something that I have going on. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just congested. My throat was hurting yesterday, so bear with me if I start coughing in the middle of this or something. So, alright. Punishment for Israel, chapter 9. Do not rejoice, Israel. Do not be jubilant, like the other nations, for you have been unfaithful to your God. You love the wages of a prostitute at every threshing floor. Threshing floors and wine presses will not feed the people. The new wine will fail them. They will not remain in the Lord's land. Ephraim will return to Egypt and eat unclean food in Azariah. They will not pour out wine offerings to the Lord, nor will their sacrifices please him. Such sacrifices will be to them like the bread of mourners. All who eat them will be unclean. The food will be for themselves. It will not come into the temple of the Lord. What will you do on the day of your appointed festivals, on the feast days of the Lord? Even if you escape from destruction, Egypt will gather them, and Memphis will bury them. The treasures, their treasures of silver will be taken over by the barriers. Briars and thorns will overrun their tents. The days of punishment are coming. The days of reckoning are at hand. Let Israel know this because your sins are so many, and your hostility so great. The prophet is considered a fool, the inspired person, a maniac. The prophet, along with my God, is the watchman over Ephraim. Yet snares await him on all his paths, and hostility in the house of his God. They have sunk deep into corruption. As in the days of Gibeah, God will remember their wickedness and punish them for their sins. When I found Israel, it was like finding grapes in a desert. When I saw your ancestors, it was like seeing the early fruit on the fig tree. But when they came to Baal Peor, they consecrated themselves to the shameful idol, and became vile as the thing they loved. Ephraim's glory will fly away like a bird. No birth, no pregnancy, no conception. Even if they rear children, I will bereave them of everyone. Woe to them when I turn away from them. I have seen Ephraim like Tyre, planted in a pleasant place. But Ephraim will bring out their children to the slayer. Give them, Lord. What will you give them? Give them wombs that miscarry, and breasts that are dry. Because of all the wickedness of Gilead, I hated them there. Because of their sinful deeds, I will drive them out of my house. I will no longer love them. All their leaders are rebellious. Ephraim is blighted. Their root is withered. They yield no fruit. Even if they bear children, I will slay their cherished offspring. My God will reject them, because they have not obeyed him. They will be wanderers among the nations. So, in that chapter, again, he's talking about what he's going to do to the land and what he's going to do to the people in the land. At the end, it specifically states that he will reject everybody and everything in the land because it has not it has not obeyed his orders or his commands. And they'll be so lost that the land will just be so confused. And when you think about it, there's places you can go right now. Like example, I lived in Orlando, Florida for like a long, long time, and I noticed that in Orlando, Florida, when I was living there, it just seems like everybody was confused, you know. And there's places you'll still find that the little portion of area is sometimes so bad that people are confused. And what that means is they sinned so much that God's cursed them with a form of confusion within their minds. So they think what isn't good is actually good. And that's where the curse plays in. Like for me, I know when something's not good. You should know when something's not good. But a lot of people don't know when something's not good. So, there's people that fall into this category of being confused. Example, we see it on X. Like if you look at the look at these communities. Some of these communities are just like, they're just, they're not making sense. And like, one of the funniest ones I've seen so far is an example of the LGBTQ community. They're mad about a sign, a no U-turn sign. Apparently that represented, their culture, their sexualities and stuff like that, which is stupid in my opinion. And that's where like everything just like this last statement is literally something I see going on today. So, if you have a chance, if you listen to the Bible or you read the Bible yourself or whatever, sometimes you want to take time out and just stand back and look at what the internet's throwing at us right now. You'll see it all the time. So, all right, let's continue on. Chapter 10. Israel was a spreading vine. He brought forth fruit for himself. As his fruit increased, he built more altars. As his land prospered, he adorned his sacrifice stones. Their hearts their heart is deceitful, and now they must build their guilt. The Lord would demolish their altars and destroy their sacred stones. Then they will say, "We have no king, because we did not revere the Lord. But even if we had a king, what could he do for us?" They make many promises, take false oaths, and make agreements. Therefore lawsuits spring up, like poisonous weeds in a plowed field. The people who live in Samaria fear for the calf idol of Beth Evan. Its people will mourn over it, and so will the adulterous priest. Those who had rejoiced over its splendor, because it is taken from them into exile, it will be carried to Assyria. As tribute for the great king, Ephraim will be disgraced. Israel will be ashamed of its foreigner alliance. Samaria's king will be destroyed, swept away like a twig on the surface of the waters. The high places of wickedness will be destroyed. It is the sin of Israel. Thorns and thistles will grow up and cover their altars. They will say to the mountains, "Cover us," and to the hills, "Fall on us." Since the days of Gibeah, you have sinned, Israel, and there you have remained. You will not war again overtake the evildoers in Gibeah. When I please, I will punish them. Nations will be gathered against them, to put them in bonds for their double sin. Ephraim is a trained heifer that loves to thresh. So I will put a yoke on her back, on her so I will put a yoke on her fair neck. I will drive Ephraim. Judah must plow, and Jacob must make up the ground. Sow righteousness for yourselves. reap the fruit of the unfailing love, and break up your unplowed ground. For it is time to seek the Lord until he comes and showers his righteousness on you. But you have planted wickedness, you have reaped evil, you have eaten fruit of deception, because you have depended on your own strength and on your own many warriors. The roar of battle will rise against you, your people, so that you so that all your fortresses will be devastated. As Shalman devastated Beth Arbel on the day of battle, when mothers were dashed to the ground with their children, so it will happen to Bethel. It will happen to you, Bethel, because your wickedness is great. When that day dawns, the king of Israel will be completely destroyed. So, this is a prediction from God that is being said into the world to Hosea. Hosea is the one getting all this knowledge, and he's going to relay back these messages to the people. And the Lord is definitely angry in this book. He's angry at a lot of stuff people do. There's a lot of disobedience and all that. Like, no, well, I know we're not perfect. I know no one's perfect. But I will say this. There's a lot of people that hide the fact they don't obey the commands of the Lord. And, you can always tell who isn't being true to the Lord and who is. And well, you can't naturally tell. Sometimes people I lied, sorry. Paul, I apologize. You just can't tell who is true to the word until you actually see their actions and how they handle things. And I will say for myself, there's a lot of people that do stuff to me, every couple of days that will come at me and start like attacking me online. And my online life differs from my life in my IRL life. So you'll never see me really. I talk about the situations going on online, but I don't really make them, I don't really revolve them around my life. So, example, if something's going on online and I disagree with it, I don't let that bother me in real life. I try not to. There's a lot of stuff that does irritate me that happens online, and there's times that I wish that it was handled a lot differently, but people online will do whatever they can to get that clout. And so, like, when they're out there doing horrible stuff to you, they take snapshots of all the stuff you say about them and to them, that they'll go and they'll literally try to make you look like this horrible human being, when in reality, the truth is, IRL, you're not. There's a lot of people that definitely sit online and they will destroy a person. They will destroy a person by getting multiple people to, back them up and attack them. That's why all this stuff that happens online, I take it with a grain of salt. I don't take it seriously. Um, you know, but going back to this, he's talking about how, like, he's gonna start covering up the shrines intentionally. He's gonna start growing the vines over the shrines so people can't get in the shrines. He's gonna make it harder and harder to worship him because people aren't obeying his commands and orders. And that's just something, like, he's doing that intentionally for a reason. And the Lord does that kind of stuff. The Lord will test you to see if you're going to be right with Him. And the moment you start backsliding or whatever, you're going to see the Lord act out on you. And sometimes you won't know what the heck is going on or why it happened. And that's just how it works. Sometimes you need to take a step back and be like, okay, Lord, I see what you're doing right now. And leave these lessons that are being taught to you, leave them as a learned lesson. Don't go back and repeat the same exact stuff that you did a couple weeks ago or whatever, because you're in your repeated cycle. Then you are basically trying to throw people under the bus because You want to make a life hard for them. There's some people that do. They like to make a life harder for other people, and that's just how they live life. They don't know how to do for themselves, so they're unhappy. So, people will go out of their way to like throw you under the bus and then try to make life harder for you. And it's just like this is stuff that, you know, it just goes to show you that like the people that don't naturally have God are normally the ones that like will throw you under the bus and try to destroy you and bring you to your knees, you know. And I don't ever give up on my belief in the Lord. You know, I have moments that like nothing will be bothering me, and like somebody will just like start drama with me, and I'm like, what are you doing here? Why are you starting? Why are you coming to me to start drama? You know, just just something to think about. Anyway, that's it for me today. I'm tired right now. I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna eat, rest, and take it easy for the rest of the night. And I'll be seeing you in the next one. Take it easy. God bless you, and pray, pray, pray. God bless.